Hi, I'm Dave Mars with Conservation Tips. You know, a lot of homes are constructed in this fashion where we have a garage under, conditioned space above. There's our bedrooms above there. We got some cold air coming in through these doors. It's going to make this garage a lot colder, make the floors colder, and it's going to cost you money in your utility bills. So the first line of defense with an old garage door like this, to go ahead and take weather stripping, put it on the top, the sides, and the bottom. You can get it at any hardware store in the area. It's sort of what it looks like here. Now that's your first line of defense. Now the second line of defense would be to add some insulation to this. And today on Tips, I'm going to show how easy it is to do. All right, now this is a garage door you find a lot in the Columbia area. We have a nice, about an inch board here. We have some really thin panels here, about 1/8 of an inch. Don't hold back a lot of coldness from the outside. So we're going to do a couple of things in this door. We're going to put a small insulation panel in this recess here, and we're going to cover the whole thing with other insulation board. What you got to do, of course, get your ruler out. Let's do some measuring here. About 15.5, 22.5. And let's cut some board. Now the insulation board that we're going to use is called foil board. This stuff is a 1/2 inch thick. The difficulty with it comes in a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet, so you might have to kind of cut it down into pieces at the hardware store so you can slip it in your vehicle or find somebody with a truck to bring it on home for you. It's very lightweight, high R value. R value is how much insulation there is per inch. It's about 4 per 1/2 inch. So we're getting nice R values with all of that, and we're just going to cut some pieces to fit in those panels that we talked about. I got my measurements down. Basically, I like to use a nice metal edge ruler like this. It doesn't hurt to put on some gloves if you're not too handy with a razor knife. And then you want to just hold the blade right to the metal edge. You get a nice straight cut. You don't have to go all the way through. You just kind of score it a bit. I'm going to come over here on this side and got my measurement. You can use a pencil or a marker to, of course, mark the measurements that you've gotten off the panels. Just take your time, go through it real slowly. You get a nice straight cut that way. Now this one here is going to go ahead and extend it on this way. And I'll show you why in a second. It makes it real easy to. It pulls right on the cut like that, and then you can take your knife again and insert it in the groove, and it makes quick work of that. Again, you always get a little more overconfident. You always should probably go ahead and use your straight edge. This makes your cleanup time a little less if you have to kind of doctor the edge if you not cut it quite exactly. You get breaks real nice like that. I've gone ahead and I measured 4 panels worth, so we're ready to insert these into our panels. Now, a very good product to use to help hold these panels in place is what's called liquid nails. It's a really good glue. It's a kind of industrial strength glue. It's like taffy, and it dries quickly. And by being gooey as it is, you can just put a few spots of it here and there. And a couple in the middle too, just so we don't have any warpage. It wants to maybe bow out a little bit over time. And if you wanted to, you could, of course, do a whole line all the way around. But normally, just a few dabs like this will hold it, plus you don't use as much material that way. Then with your cut and measured panel, it slips right in there. This material here helps hold the panel in place while it's drying. You don't necessarily need a whole line of glue like this, all on the edge. But I would put a few daubs in the middle here so we kind of keep that panel from bowing out over time. Once you get a little base like that set up, then it's just simply a matter of sticking your panel into it. And I'll tell you what, once it's played like this, it's going to stay for quite a while. Okay, you can see that part's pretty easy. Now, this would be sufficient enough just to leave these up there by a singular layer. But if you want a little more R value, well, we can go ahead, we can cover this too and get about 1 inch of foil board insulation. So I'll show you how to do that now. All right, okay, we got our panels in place. You saw how easy it was to do. Now, if you want to add a little extra R value though, because we can cover this lumber up with some more of this foil board, and I'll show you how. Now, since this door opens, we got hinges here. They're going to get in the way of adding more foil board up here. We also don't want to make sure that when this door opens that these things aren't crushing each other. So you kind of want to do a measurement and cover this board up here. This is the top of the board. We can go up to the top of it if you wish. So you want to measure it down to about, ½ inch off that crease right there. And then from side to side, well, I take it to the middle here on this side, and then I overlap it, about 1 inch or so over on this side. Now we're going to cut that board. Then we're going to have to cut out for these protuberances. That'll keep it from laying flat on there. So we'll show you how to do it right now. Here's the board that's been pre-cut. Now what we're going to do, so hold it up here rather than trying to measure it all out, and kind of guesstimate how far down that needs to go. And of course you can use something a little different than a nail to mark it with. I'm going to go ahead and cut this corner out first, and then we'll position the rest of the corners, okay? Okay, now we got this, somewhat in place, and you can do a lot neater than I'm doing it, of course. You just take your time, but same principle here with the glue. I'm going to go ahead and put some liquid nails on these vertical and horizontal supports here. And nice copious amount of it, of course. Don't scrimp on the glue ever. Be careful on this lower edge here so you don't get it down below the edge of the foil board that you cut. Okay. And that goes right up here like so. And we want to have it somewhat centered on this board here so we can make it easier to put our next board up there. We're going to have our distance down below here so the doors can open and not get caught on the foil board thickness. Okay, now because we don't have the same recess on this, we're going to use a few nails here. And these are made for this kind of product. They have a little thin washer on them. This is a 1 inch nail since this is only ½ inch thick material. I'm just going to go ahead and nail these up. And don't have to nail all over the place, just enough to kind of hold it in place while the glue is drying. Now you can see they're pretty durable too. There's other kinds of foam board out there. It doesn't have the foil on it. I like the foil because you reflect heat inwards as well as you reflect heat outwards during the summertime. All right, well I'm going to go ahead and put my other inserts in and cover them up as the afternoon ensues here. You can see how easy it is to do. It doesn't take a whole lot of skill. It takes you about $60 for materials per door, which is a lot better than spending $1,000 for a new one. And this old door's got some more life in it, so we can preserve it, and you can also preserve your resources this way. The rooms surrounding this area are going to be warmer, the floor is going to be warmer, you're going to save energy, you're going to save money, and you're going to save the environment. This is Dave Morris of Conservation Tips, and I'll see you next time.